Do you feel like you've lost your way? Are you overwhelmed and anxious on a daily basis? Do you feel like you're too stressed out to enjoy life? If so, you've landed in the right place. The Gratitude to Bliss show is about stressing less and feeling blessed. It's about figuring out what matters most, letting go of what doesn't, and creating a life that makes you feel happy and alive. I'm Lorraine Miller, mom, health coach, award-winning author, infertility survivor, and recovering stressaholic. And I'm on a mission to help you overcome overwhelm, improve your health, and find your bliss. The best part? It's so easy to get started. The Gratitude to Bliss show starts now. Hello and welcome to the Gratitude to Bliss show, the place to be to get your vitamin G. I'm Lorraine Miller, your host, and we have a really great show today. I have a special guest. We're going to talk about gratitude and fertility. And my guest today is Wendie Aston. Hi, Wendie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great, great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. So, Wendie is a fertility coach, a hypnotherapist, a Reiki master and sound healer, and a green expert. And I really wanted to have you on the show today because I wanted to do a show on fertility. As you know, uh, I had an 8-year struggle to have my son, and gratitude was one of the things that I found along my journey that helped me so much. So I really have a soft spot for men and women going through infertility. And I know this is such a hard subject for so many people to talk about. So I thought it was really important to do a show on this subject, not only for those people who are going through infertility, but for family members to kind of get an idea of what they're going through. And also just to help people understand how important it is to really take care of yourself. So when you're ready to conceive, you'll have an easier time and a healthier baby. So tell us about the work you do helping men and women with that, with fertility.
Yeah, I have a lot of women and men come to me that they've been struggling with infertility for months or even years, and they can't seem to get to the root cause of why that is. They go from doctor to doctor, they try IVF, they try IUI, and then it becomes unexplained infertility. And a lot of times I uncover things that haven't even been tested. Unfortunately, there's doctors that don't even test the male sperm. So it's something that we really have to ask for the tests. So my protocol is really to work with a couple for 3 months, either the woman or the man, whichever would prefer, or whichever has the issues. And it takes really 3 months to change the health of the sperm and the egg. So that's why I have a 3-month protocol. And I really go and uncover things like a detective and look at everything that's in their home. I look at their environment and all of the things could possibly impact fertility. And then I look at the mindset. And that is something that a lot of times is overlooked because we really focus on, oh, we need to be eating right, eating organic, and we need to get rid of the toxins in our home. But we forget about the mindset part of that. And so that's where I tie in hypnosis and hypnotherapy, because a lot of times the woman has suffered a trauma or she's had a miscarriage, and that can be a block. She may be troubled with her childhood or with, becoming the parent that was not the best parent, and she's worried that she's going to be a bad parent. So there's
Mm.
many things that can be in the back of the mind, conscious or subconscious, that we really have to uncover. And so that's why I'm finding combining the mind body to fertility is seeming to be a really good combination for great results for couples.
That's so beautiful. And I know I saw that your philosophy of health and wellness is that food is medicine. You are what you eat, and fertility is a mind, body, soul connection. I just love that. I
Thanks.
think
Yeah.
that that really kind of sums it up and
Yeah.
is what you're all about. So How can people find you if they want to hire
Yes.
you?
Yes, I have an Instagram page, Wendie Aston one, and then I have a Facebook page, Wendie Aston Wellness, Fertility, and Hypnotherapy. And so that has some reviews on it. I post things on both sites. My Facebook page has a lot of posts regarding pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and fertility. And Instagram is a little bit of everything that I post, but I do post on both. So they can find me there. Text messaging is the quickest way to get in touch with me. If you want to get pregnant yesterday, texting me is the quickest response.
Beautiful. Thank you. So you're also an author. You've written a book, Go Green Before You Conceive. Tell us
Yes.
about your book.
Yes, yes. I actually wrote my book while I was pregnant with my third child, my son. And I had done the health coaching and nutrition program. And I was inspired to write the book because I had gained so much knowledge. I had started out having a healthy lifestyle when I lived in Los Angeles, and I had uncovered, getting rid of the toxins in my home, such as cleaning products. And this was back in like 2003, 2004. And I was getting rid of all the toxic endocrine disruptors from makeup. And my husband's like, why are you throwing everything out? And I was like, this is toxic. I shouldn't have these things in the home. They're bad for us. And we, at that point, organic eating was kind of a new thing in 2003, 2004. And I had had a couple of health struggles, and I became, acquainted with a naturopath, and she kind of got me on the path to healthy eating, all organic. And that really inspired me when I was pregnant to write my book, because I was at a point where I had learned so much, and I had begun blogging when my oldest daughter was 6 months old. And I was researching, and my background was actually I was doing acting, but I was also doing a lot of home renovations for people in Los Angeles, and really renovating green with blue jean insulation and all the non-toxic paints, where back then there was not no VOC paints that you could get at Lowe's. They were at a special store that I had to go to get them. And so that just enveloped my knowledge, and just I was like, I need to put this out somewhere because nobody is talking about this. And this was like 15 years ago when I had started blogging, and nobody was really talking about it. They were starting to talk about it. And I said, okay, I've got to write the book. And so it just was in my heart and soul when I was pregnant. And since I had the boy, I also did a swaying the sex, which I researched. There's methods to do an alkaline diet or an acidic diet. And I'd researched that. It was out of I guess I can't remember. It was in Europe. There were some studies, there were scientific studies. And I said, okay, I'm going to put this in my book because I had two girls and I wanted the boy. And so with that, all of that knowledge together with getting my boy and everything that I was able to do with conception and having three kids after suffering for 5 years in infertility, I thought this knowledge needs to come out to the world and share it so people can not have the struggles that I have had, because it was a struggle. And then I finally put the pieces together, when people said, oh, you're not doing it right, and I knew in my heart that I had the answers to get pregnant naturally. And so I thought, if I can do this, other people can do this.
Wow. That's very inspiring. And your book is such a great resource. And you really can't start too young with all of this. I mean, teenage girls buying makeup. You have two young
Yes.
daughters,
Yes.
getting into those teenage years. And it's just so important for them to be armed with this knowledge.
Right.
And it's still not commonplace. It's still something that you have to work to get the information out there, and people have to work to find it. But your book is such an incredible resource. And I'm really grateful that it's out there, that you put all that information together. So it's available on Amazon, right?
Yes, and barnesandnoble.com as well.
Okay. So it's called Go Green Before You Conceive.
Yeah, Going Green.
Going Green, sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
Going Green Before You Conceive. And it's actually endorsed by Christiane Northrup, who is such a wonderful resource and leader in women's health, would you say?
Oh, yeah, she is. She is a wealth of knowledge and was such an inspiration to me reading her books and understanding her philosophy. I remember I saw her at a lecture in New York City when I was in nutrition school, and I was pregnant with my son. And And she was talking about boys' health and what you should do once boys are born and if you should circumcise or not. And I was like, wow, I was really meant to be in this space because her knowledge is so powerful. And so I share that with my clients, what I've learned from other doctors and those before me, so we can tell the world the knowledge that they need to know so they can have healthy lives for their children.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job on the book and
Thank
getting
you.
it all out there.
Yes.
Um, all right, so let's talk about some tips that women and men can follow when they're wanting to become parents. Give us a few tips, like general tips, and then we can go into the mindset.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really, even if you're not struggling with infertility, I really recommend anyone who's trying to get pregnant to really for 3 months, I call it a fertility transformation because our fertility is an extension of overall health. And if something is not in alignment, something is wrong, our fertility is going to suffer. So I really recommend a 3 month transformation to change the sperm and the egg health. And that starts with looking at your environment. I do a whole house overview, looking at everything that you're using in your kitchen too, because there's a lot of things in our kitchen that hold toxins like Teflon pans and aluminum foil and plastics. And so these are endocrine disruptors. So we really want to do a kitchen detox, is what I like to call it. And then we want to look at what's in our kitchen, what we're cooking with in our kitchen, like plastic spatulas and that type of things. And then the organic, like the spices are so important to be organic, and as much organic food as you can incorporate into your diet is really important because these pesticides are harming us, they're harming our eggs. And eating, I mean, 80-20 rule, I know it's sometimes not doable for some people, but 80-20 rule, try to get the most organic that you possibly can. And then I like to look at the beauty care, as I said before, getting rid of any toxic makeups or moisturizers or shampoos or soaps, because all of these synthetic fragrances are causing havoc to our hormones and causing young girls, they're teenagers, they get to be in their 20s and they want to have a baby in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and the hormones are all out of alignment. And so it can take so many months to detox from these, unfortunately. So it's good to start when you're young and 3 months before you want to conceive. And then, of course, the cleaning products, which are, they should be banned. Some of these products, you look at the ingredients and they're all chemicals. And
Mhm.
the old fashioned way of cleaning and cooking and all this is what is so beneficial for us to help us live longer and look younger as we age, because we can see a difference. I mean, my grandparents lived to be in their 90s. And today, people look much older. I look at 20-year-olds and I'm like, wow, they're 20, but they look like they could be 30. So it's
Mhm.
not just the fertility, it's our aging and our overall health.
Right, right.
Yeah. And then the other thing too, once we get to the food and the lifestyle and the environment, you want to think about things in your home like your carpeting and the paints and what kind of mattress are you sleeping on, and the pillows, like are these memory foam with gasoline products in them. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I like to really do my detective work and find out what could be causing problems in the sperm health, in the egg health. So it's a whole overhaul to your body and to your home. And once we put those pieces together and find out what could be causing it, that then we have some answers, and usually test results improve within 3 months. I mean, my oldest client was 47 and she gave birth and she had a healthy baby. So it's just a matter of really pinpointing how you can fix things. And then we get into the mindset, which maybe you want to say something about with
Yeah,
gratitude.
so I just want to say I think, you know, everything you said is so important, but it's also important to not get too overwhelmed because then we can get stressed, right? And
Yes,
stress
yes,
is
yes,
not what we
yeah,
want. So
yes,
even just making small changes can be
yes,
beneficial, and not to, you know, feel overwhelmed and panicked
yeah,
about anything, but just
yeah,
to, you know, have an awareness and really have a desire to create life and to create a healthy baby. And when you were talking about organic food and pesticides, um, I was thinking about how important whole foods are. I mean, they're important for everybody, but one of the things that I really appreciate about eating whole foods that we're growing on a farm or in a
Mhm.
garden is
Yeah.
that life force energy. And I think when you're trying to conceive, to
Mhm.
really put your mind
Mhm.
on that, like everything that you're eating is nourishing your body, which is going to be making your eggs healthier
Yes.
or create healthy sperm and then
Yes.
eventually create a baby. So I just wanted to add that to
Yeah, that's
what
right.
you were saying. But yeah, tell us about mindset and what you've found with your
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah, there's actually a chapter in my book I call it the mommy mindset. And this is so important. And this is how I tie in gratitude because when we get our cycle, get our period every month, a lot of times we're not grateful for it. We think of it in a negative way. And we have to think of it in a positive way because blood is life. Blood is life. And every month we have an opportunity to create that life. So instead of saying, oh no, I got my period again, we really want to think, wow, this is an incredible opportunity to be grateful for it and have a positive mindset towards it, that this will one day grow my baby. And the thing is in order to have gratitude on a daily basis with my clients, I really ask them, do you want to do a gratitude jar or a gratitude journal? And every day, write down something that you are grateful for and put it in the jar or put it in your journal. And then once you do get your cycle, if you don't get a positive pregnancy test, read everything that you put in that jar when you have your cycle or read your journal so you can have a positive mindset and get out of that funk of, oh no, I have my period again. But it's something that will take some time because some people have been suffering for years with fertility and they're like, oh wow, I don't want to get my period. But we have to really reframe it and think of it in a positive light instead of like, oh, Aunt Flo is here. I mean, there's they dread it or they have painful periods. And so that's another thing, getting to the bottom of why you're having period pain, because your period should not be painful. If you are healthy and in alignment and hormones are in balance, you should really have no symptoms. You shouldn't even know it's coming. So that's
Mm.
one thing that people just think that, you have to suffer and you don't. And so I uncover ways to really have a cycle that is pain-free, symptom-free with herb supplements, yoni steams, and all of these things that I put in a protocol. So that's my tip on gratitude and mindset, and really believing and having confidence that you can be a mom. And then that's where I get into deep hypnosis and really changing the mindset so you can be confident. Because sometimes there's some subconscious blocks that we just don't know. And hypnosis is one way to change that and get rid of the anxiety and have that mommy mindset and be
Mm.
grateful. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I really love that. I wish that I had some of that knowledge when I was going through infertility because I remember just feeling just so awful and disappointed month after month and
Yeah.
losing hope. But for me, once I started practicing gratitude, I started having hope again and I
Yeah.
started seeing so many positive things and it just changed everything for me. It changed my whole life, my whole career. That's
Yes.
why we're here today. But I
Yes.
really do empathize with women going through that now. But I think that your suggestions are just brilliant. And I, again, I'll say it again. I just love how you literally take a mind, body, spirit approach. And for this topic, for this challenge, that's what's required. So I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so what other wisdom? I mean, you just gave us so much wisdom. I was going to ask you, like, what wisdom can you share with viewers who may be struggling? But is there anything else that you want to add? We're gonna end in a little bit, but I just want to make sure that you
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
share what you want to share.
I want to say, it's so important to get to the root cause of why you're having health issues and infertility. And you really don't want to take no for an answer when you go to a doctor. If you decide, a lot of people go to their OBGYN and they will have an appointment. They're like, oh, everything's fine. Or they won't even get any testing done or hormonal tests. And they'll just be told, okay, go try to get pregnant. But they may not even be ovulating, which was my case. I went to an infertility doctor and I knew that something wasn't right. And he said, well, see if you're ovulating. Well, I wasn't ovulating. And you go from doctor to doctor to doctor, and they're not putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You go to endocrinologist, you go to a fertility doctor, you go to your OBGYN, and they're not all running the same tests. And there's like a certain amount of tests that you need to do. Like you need to do a full thyroid panel. You need to check homocysteine. You need to check for MTHFR, which is a gene mutation that causes miscarriages. So that's another thing that women need to get tested for, to know if they have that, because that puts them at high risk for infertility and also puts them at a risk to not be able to detox, which makes it important to not have toxins in your home if you have that, because you are like a canary in a coal mine. So that's another thing that people aren't aware of. So I really just say test, 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 and be a detective. And then always, unexplained infertility needs an explanation. And I really like this because being told that it's unexplained, it is so hurtful as a person, because there's got to be a reason why doctors can't find what that reason is. And if it's not a physical thing, then that's where we look into the mindset and, trauma or fears, or the hypnosis really taking over and figuring out what is that and how can we get to that root cause in your mind that's being blocked. Or maybe it's not time for the baby to come. Maybe the plan is that the baby's not ready to come. God is not ready to send that baby. Whatever your belief is, that baby will come someday, but maybe it's not that baby's time yet. So we also have to think of that too.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we want things to happen yesterday, it's all about divine timing, and we need to really sit with that and see, what is that, and get rid of the fears and just trust in our bodies and trust in the universe to provide what we want, because women are made to be parents. And one thing I love that I also teach is hypnobirthing, which is once the couples get pregnant and I help them, we get to the finish line and we go and we learn how to birth naturally and really do the things that can allow women to birth with confidence and ease. And that is I birthed standing up. I literally birthed standing up 2 of my children, and it was the most powerful thing. And so in my book, I go into from preconception to during pregnancy, and then I talk about postpartum in the 4th trimester, and that's something that's often forgotten. So when I work with a couple, I work with them preconception to postpartum, and I still have couples that come back to me, 3 years, 4 years later, asking me for advice or perimenopausal type things. So it's just I try to like really encourage people to like really take care of their health, and then I'll handhold them till the end, and then as much as they need at the end, and get through the later years too, because it's just wonderful to be able to help people get pregnant naturally. And then I also help people with IVF too, because you need to boost your egg health. Sometimes there's health issues that we can't overcome, and that's where I come in and really help them get the best eggs they can. And that is happens so many times that they have 1 embryo and then they get 10, so they're like, wow, it really worked.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. I'm
yeah.
so glad you mentioned divine timing, because it's so true. And as a parent, I think about that a lot. I mean, it took me 8 years, but I believe in divine timing. And I think that, our children are on their own journey. And sometimes we want to control things for them, but they have to learn their own lessons. So once people have kids, once you become a parent, then having an appreciation that your child or your children are on their own journeys and experiencing things, it takes some of the pressure off. And I think it's the same with conceiving, right? You could do everything right.
Yes.
And it just might not be the right time. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Okay. It is very.
Yeah. So it's time for our wheel of gratitude. So I'm going to ask Emily, our producer, if you could spin the wheel for us.
Okay, today the wheel landed on self-gratitude.
Oh, how nice. I really love that. Okay, so self-gratitude is really appreciating yourself. So I think this is really important for people going through fertility challenges, to appreciate what you are doing, right? Sometimes we feel like we just can't control things that we want so badly. But the more we can appreciate what we are doing, and just in general, appreciating everything that you bring to your relationships, to your career, to your friendships, to yourself can be so powerful. So just take a moment to show some self-gratitude today as you go about your day. And right now, while you're listening, just think of one thing that you really appreciate about yourself. And I really appreciate that I've been able to find such amazing guests. I really am so excited about the guests that I have on my show. So I'm really appreciating that about myself. Is there anything you want to share, Wendie?
Yeah, I appreciate that I'm able to juggle my homeschooling family and my dogs and my cats and my chickens and my clients, because it's a lot, but I really enjoy what I do, and I really enjoy having a big family, and so I really love that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, you do so much. And such a beautiful inspiration to so many.
Thanks.
All right, so we have to end, but tell everyone again how they can find you. And if you have anything, if you want to talk about your different programs, you can share those for people so they can know about you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Wendie Aston 1, or on Facebook, Wendie Aston Wellness, Fertility, and Hypnotherapy. And also, I have a promo. My 3-month programs will get sound healing or a hypnosis session as a bonus. And so I typically work with people for 3 months, depending on your budget. If you need a one-time consult, I can also do that too. I've also worked with people for 6 months or 9 months. It really depends. I have premium programs where I will work with you pre-conception and then through postpartum, and throw in a hypnobirthing package with that. So it just depends what people are looking for. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Definitely check Wendie out. Check out her book, Going Green Before You Conceive. And I hope that this episode has inspired you. If you have fertility challenges, if you're wanting to conceive, if you're just thinking about it at a later point in life, Wendie is such an incredible resource and so much information and services to help you on your journey. So thank you for being here, Wendie. It's been my pleasure to have you as my guest.
Thank you.
On this really important topic. So you're listening to the Gratitude to Bliss show, the place to be to get your vitamin G. I'm your host, Lorraine Miller. I just want to remind you to check out episode 1 of the show, where I walk you through a very simple gratitude practice called vitamin G. And I give you tips and inspiration for getting the most out of it. And I also invite you to go to my website, gratitudetobliss.com. You can sign up for my newsletter and you'll get access to a free guided meditation, Nourishing Gratitude, that will help you stay in the vibration of gratitude. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, I love you. Take your vitamin G. Thank you for tuning in to the Gratitude to Bliss show, the place to be to get your vitamin G. I'm Lorraine Miller, your host, and I want to remind you to check out episode 1 and create your own powerful vitamin G practice and let gratitude work magic in your life. To help you add that special sauce, download your free guided meditation, Nourishing Gratitude, at gratitudetobliss.com. Do you have a gratitude story to tell? Has gratitude helped you overcome a challenge in your life? Or are you going through a rough time and need some extra support? Go to gratitudetobliss.com/contact and send us your story to be a featured guest on the show, so you can inspire others with your story or get inspired to break through whatever you are struggling with. Remember, I love you. Take your vitamin G. One thing I know for sure is that life is a blessing. We aren't meant to feel stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious on a daily basis. We are meant to feel calm, healthy, and strong mentally, physically, and emotionally. If you've been struggling with stress, if you want to boost your mood, increase your energy, balance hormones, and create greater mental clarity and focus. If you want to lose excess weight and keep it off, I invite you to check out Calm, Healthy, and Fit, my 3-month group coaching program that is all about you and making yourself a priority. We are going to set achievable goals, create healthy habits around food and lifestyle, and support each other in a group setting. Join us and visit gratitudetobliss.com/group coaching to learn more.